Hello everyone! For those who don't know, I actually love Metroplex and his design and coloring. He's really cool to me. Especially in the video game. Oh, I dropped something. Sorry, I have a little fidget in my hand. Well, I sometimes do these. Anyway. Yeah, I like Metroplex. Especially Metroplex line of Metroplex heeds the call of the last prime. Someone made some really good art of that. Do you remember that in the game?
Yeah, I think I remember that in the game.
Where Optimus wakes up and he says, I ask you, no, I order you, help us in our time of need. And you just see him transforming from part of the city and just stomping on a Decepticon tank.
Oh yeah, Metroplex is like a Titan, I think they're called.
Yeah.
He's
I,
like one of the last ones, isn't he?
in the games, yes. In other media, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember. Those are crazy.
Yeah. Giant city-sized ones is what they're called, I think.
This week, we're finally running down the history of the greatest of the Autobot Titans.
Yeah.
So get ready to make a special run to Autobot City for the basics on
Metroplex. So
Metroplex was the first of the Transformers that today we call Titans. Huge robots that transform into entire cities. The original Metroplex toy was designed for the Japanese toy line Diaclone, but that series was cancelled before it could be released. So instead, the figure was repurposed for the Transformers toy line and released as part of its third year in 1986. Metroplex could transform into either a city scaled for small Autobot toys to interact with.
It seems more like he's a giant building.
I think he is just like a giant building, not a city itself, but a building.
A city itself is cool, but I feel like that would be too large even for a toy. What I mean?
Yeah, I get you. It'll be hella expensive if they try to make it to scale or accurate.
Yeah, that would be a little too hard. Maybe they'll do it one day as like a super premium thing, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like it would cost too much, especially nowadays.
A rolling battle station. He was designed to have special interaction with the Combiner teams released the same year, which, like him, had also been created for Diaclone. The team leaders could convert into base modes that connected to and expanded his city form, while the smaller team members could combine with him in robot mode by plugging into his limbs.
Nice.
Metroplex also came packaged with three small...
You know what combiners are, right?
Yeah.
The groups that are of 5 that are like, we all combine to form, like, Devastator or Bruticus.
Yeah, I know what they are. I just didn't know that they did that for Metroplex is all.
Yeah, I didn't either, honestly. They just seem to be little add-ons to them, though. They don't really seem to, like, change them in any way.
The scout car Scamper, Slammer, a tank that converted into a tower for his city mode, and Six Gun, formed from the combination of Metroplex's various weapons. A profile for Metroplex was written by Marvel Comics writer Bob Budiansky, which characterized him as a modest fun name despite his gigantic size and power. Though valued and respected by all the other Autobots, he had a bad habit of judging himself much too harshly. In particular, his function as a city meant that he could rarely transform to fight on the front lines, which made him feel like he wasn't contributing everything he could to the Autobot cause. The Metroplex toy inspired the inclusion of an Autobot city in 1986's The Transformers the Movie. The film introduced the city as the Autobots' new base of operations on Earth, which came under siege from the Decepticons in the movie's opening act. However, the film was written and designed with little knowledge of the actual Metroplex toy, and so Autobot City wound up bearing almost no resemblance to the figure, and was treated only as a non-living fortress. As such, it fell to the subsequent third season of the
Alright.
Transformers animated series to properly introduce Metroplex into the cartoon universe. The series reconciled his existence with the city seen in the film by explaining that he was just a smaller subsection of Autobot City,
that
and that
actually
he
makes a
hadn't
bit sense.
transformed to robot mode during the Decepticon siege because his transforming cog was damaged. However, in the season's opening miniseries,
Triptychon.
a new cog was installed just in time to let
Oh, God, not
Metroplex finally
Triptychon.
assume
Yeah.
robot mode and fight off an
Beat
attack
him up.
by the
Get him.
Decepticon titan, Triptychon.
Just lifts him and throws him.
Metroplex went on to enjoy several
love
spotlight
that
adventures in the
animation.
season.
It
So
looks so
much.
silly. Let's go back a
He
bit.
does.
Off an attack by the
Yeah.
Decepticon titan,
It looks so silly.
Triptychon.
Woo!
Metroplex went on to
Yeah.
enjoy several spotlight adventures in the season
Oh.
that brought him into
Oh.
conflict with Triptychon again and again,
Missiles.
including one in which he was framed for stealing national monuments from around the world,
What?
and another in which his transforming cog was stolen to temporarily
Oh,
trap
swindle.
him in city mode once again. In the Japanese market, Metroplex's toy was sold as the centerpiece of the Scramble City subline.
Okay, Scramble City does not sound nearly as cool as Titans. I don't care what you say. He's not.
Yeah, but I think they started to call them Titans till later, maybe? I don't
Maybe.
know. I don't know, to be honest. Does
Accordingly,
anyone know
he
when they
received a
officially started calling them Titans in the actual lore? Can you guys tell us? That'd be really nice. Thank you.
major marketing push in the country,
That would be
starring
nice.
in several pieces of Japanese original media.
Alright.
Most notably, the story of how the Autobots built him on Earth was told in a
Let me
direct-to-video
increase my volume just a
animated
bit.
special, which was actually released several months before
I hate
his
my
debut
switch on my volume on my
American
mic.
television. Additionally, the continued availability of his
Anyway.
toy in 1987 ensured him recurring appearances in that year's Japanese original sequel series, The Headmasters.
Anyway, let's end this.
Metroplex
Cool.
didn't appear in the Marvel comic book
Aw.
published in America, but he
That
did
stinks.
feature in a story written exclusively for the British version of the series.
Okay.
Here he was depicted as the living core of Autobot City, who normally lay
Oh.
dormant within the fortress, until he was activated by Hot
just
Rod
really
to
awakened.
fend off an invasion by the alien Quintessons.
I'd run from that too.
Metroplex's toy was discontinued in 1988, but in 1990 it was
That face does
recolored
not
and
look like,
re-released exclusively in Japan
Metroplex.
as a new character, the Decepticon Metro Titan.
Oh, he's a
After the
Decepticon?
end of the original series, though,
no.
the whole concept of giant-sized city robot toys fell out of fashion for a while.
Well,
and
yeah,
so
because they're
Metroplex
costly to
wouldn't
make.
appear in any new Transformers media for quite some time. Eventually, a new incarnation of the character was introduced in
Oh.
2005's Transformers
I don't remember
Cybertron.
this one.
But instead of a city, this Metroplex turned into a huge bucket wheel excavator and
Alright.
came packaged with his Minicon partner,
No,
Drill
I don't
Bit.
either.
A tremendously powerful yet thoughtful and intelligent engineer who spoke with a
No.
Scottish accent. He was
Robots
the leader
in
of a
disguise.
Cybertronian colony on the planet Gigantian, a world of giant-sized construction worker Transformers who spent their days constantly building new cities across the face of their planet.
That sounds
As
crazy.
seen in the Cybertron cartoon, when the
Sounds kinda
Autobots
cool,
came to
though.
Gigantian in search
Yeah.
of one of the 4 Cyber Planet keys, whose power they
Oh,
needed
that's
to
why they
close a black
named
hole
him,
threatening
Metroplex,
Cybertron.
because he's so
quickly
gigantic.
pledged himself to their cause, and even lent Optimus Prime his mighty axe, Spark Drinker, to use in battle.
Cool.
Bar Drinker.
In 2009, Transformers Animated featured
Ah.
a huge building
There
on
he is.
Cybertron named the Metroplex, which served as the headquarters
He
of
was
the
going to
Autobot
probably
High Council.
transform if the
Now,
show
the
didn't
show
get
didn't
canceled.
give any indication that this Metroplex was a sentient transformer. But still, it was a big step in returning the character
I
to
mean,
his
look at
roots.
it. Tell me that
It
doesn't
helped
look like
set
it's
the
going to
stage for
transform.
Metroplex's true return
Yeah, no,
to
it does
animated
look like it
action
wants to
in the
transform.
2012 video game
There he
Fall
is.
of Cybertron.
There's my
This
boy.
game depicted Metroplex as a long-forgotten robot who had been lying dormant in his city mode on Cybertron for untold
Metroplex
ages,
heeds the
whose
call of
body
the last
Autobots
Prime.
had unknowingly used as their headquarters until Optimus Prime discovered his true
Look how
nature
tiny is in
reactivated him to
comparison.
help the Autobots in their war.
Metroplex is
At the game's end,
huge.
Metroplex sacrificed himself to help the Autobots escape the dying planet, using the last of his energy to power their spaceship, the
Yeah.
Ark.
Poor Metroplex.
Hot on the game's heels, in 2013,
I wish I could
a
find
new
this toy. Probably
Metroplex
can't.
toy was released in the Transformers Generations line. Able to convert into all 3 classic modes, packaged
Ooh.
with Scamper and featuring electronic voice clips from Fall of Cybertron, it was the first figure sold at the new
You don't know how
giant-size
many crazy
Titan
toys I would
class
buy if I
price
was a
point,
rich man.
And at 2
I
feet in
know.
height, was the tallest
And a lot of
Transformers
model kits,
toy
more
that
than
had been
Raikoi
produced
has.
up to that point.
Yeah, he's
The 1-2
getting
punch
more
of
though.
Fall of
He's beyond
Cybertron
reason.
and this new
I
toy.
mean, I have some in my local store, so they shouldn't go up in price. But there's a high chance that they could, so... Yeah.
Kicked off a run of appearances for Metroplex in a range of media, including mobile games, Japanese manga, and most significantly, comic books from IDW
Of course, they love
Publishing.
probably using them in comic books.
Now, Metroplex had been introduced into IDW's universe a few years earlier in a 2009 self-titled Spotlight one-shot that saw him
Metroplex.
save the Throttlebots from the Decepticon
Throttlebots.
6 shots, and he'd made only sparing appearances in the intervening years. It wasn't until 2012, concurrent with his appearance
Look at him
in
go,
Fall of
he's
Cybertron,
flying.
that the
Yeah,
origins
it's
of
probably a
IDW's
spaceship, yeah.
Metroplex were revealed. He was one of a race of ancient city-sized Transformers from the primordial past, who,
Okay.
much like in the game, had been awakened from dormancy by Optimus Prime during the war.
Ooh.
Then, in 2013, Metroplex starred in a story arc tying in with the release of his new toy, in which he battled an undead Titan unleashed by the Decepticon Shockwave.
Of course it was.
Victorious, but badly damaged, Metroplex assumed his city mode to recuperate, in the process becoming the devastated Cybertron's new capital. And
Oh.
in this role, he remained a fixture of IDW's comics for the rest of their run. As a
Nice.
city, his functions were overseen by the Autobot Windblade,
Okay.
whose talents in the art of city speaking allowed her to
City
mentally
speaking.
communicate and emotionally connect
I'm sorry, but
with
that's
the
goofy.
gigantic Metroplex's
It really
vast
is.
consciousness on a level that normal Autobots couldn't.
That's silly. We are
It
never.
really is actually.
I can speak to the city itself. That is, don't touch me anymore. It's goofy of me. I'm sorry. It's real goofy. I have a hard time taking it seriously. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. It's just so hot where I am. It's just getting hotter. And I don't know why.
But man, you need to heed the call of the last Brian.
Oh my god, I'm not a Cybertronian, nor am I an Autobot.
Don't you want to help Optimus though?
He can do better with Metroplex than he can with me, alright?
That's so sad. Believe in yourself, man.
Oh my god.
Guys, tell Mac to believe in himself. He needs it.
I don't really. I think I'm good. Don't worry.
Oh my god. He's in denial.
Oh my god. Anyway, moving forward with this.
And together, the pair worked to build a hopeful future for the new citizens now dwelling within him. The ideas featured in IDW's comics would go on to serve as inspiration for the Prime Wars trilogy of webtoons, launched in 2016.
They changed his head
This
a little
series
bit.
saw an angry Windblade abandon her duties as Metroplex's city speaker to hunt out-of-control combiners rampaging across Cybertron and its colonies, until
Alright.
Metroplex re-established their telepathic connection and helped counsel her through her rage. Their bond reforged, Metroplex awoke to help quash the threat of the combiners, then laid down his life to protect Cybertron in one last battle with his old enemy, Trypticon.
Con. Damn.
Things have been a little quiet for Metroplex in the years since then. In that time, his only notable media appearance has been in IDW's 2021 miniseries, Shattered Glass,
Oh.
set in a
Do you know what show?
Oh, yeah, no, I know what that is. It's where It's essentially where everything is the exact opposite. So there's Nemesis Prime, if I remember his name is right. But for some freaking reason, everyone is a lot darker than their normal counterparts. I know it's like the opposite and everyone's evil, but Jesus Christ, that they go hard with how evil they are in that universe. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know, but
it's
it was horrifying.
like Megatron in that universe is I think a mathematician or something, and Starscream is like the most loyal person in the world and like an honorable warrior.
Mirror
It's something.
universe, where the heroic Decepticons tried to prevent the evil Autobots from reactivating the dormant Metroplex and controlling his power. There have been no further toys of the Citybot
Oh.
either, though a new figure of Six Gun was released in
Nice.
2019's Siege, followed by
These
one of
toys look kinda
Slammer
cool.
in 2021's Kingdom, both serving to complement Metroplex's Generations figure. While a huge Titan-class figure
Oh.
of Cybertron Metroplex was released in the Legacy toy line in 2022. But if history's taught us anything, it's that while Metroplex may spend a long time hidden away, slumbering out of sight, we can be sure that one day soon, this Titan will return. And those are the basics on Metroplex. Folks have been asking for this one for a long while, and
That's
I thought it was
surprising.
finally time. Share some of your Metroplex memories in the comments, and be sure to like, subscribe, and if you can, support the show
I
on
remember
Patreon
when
for more
Metroplex
history
came,
and lore
I
from
heard the
world
call of the
of
last time.
Transformers.
It was so cool.
Yes, we all know how cool Metroplex is. I most of all. But what? Any lasting thoughts, Fable?
I know that there are other Titans. There were other Titans in the lore. I just kind of hope we can learn more about them in time, but knowing the stories, it might not be possible.
Yeah, I just prefer Metroplex, I'll be honest. I like him a lot, if you couldn't tell. But anyway,
Yeah.
what was I gonna say? But anyway, what do you guys think all about Metroplex, and what should we react to next? I'm always happy to react to what you guys want, but either way, we'll probably see you later, and if you need to take care of anything, or want to help out, then there's the Patreon, or if you don't want to pay anything, you know, like comedy and subscribing definitely helps, and I'll see you all later. God damn, it's hot where I am. If I had
Oh my
money for
God.
the AC, I would. Anyway, thank you all so much. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.